Bigfoot ripping guts and ripping groins, none of the demon. Night of the Demon, No S, came out in 1980, directed by James Wason. This one is a classic for sure. It's a great banger to end the year reviews on, and one of the most infamous video nasties there is. A $600 Sasquatch suit terrorizes the middle of nowhere. Professor Nugent takes 4 of his students and the daughter of a fisherman is allegedly killed by Sasquatch in the woods of Northern California. They go into the town and ask the locals about the history and some crazy lady Wanda who lives out in the woods. They learn of her father, who was a priest, but she gives birth to the devil or something and ends up he kills himself, burning to death in a shed. His disciples all look after her in the woods, which they run into. Nugent and his student Roy stumble onto a ceremony with a big flock statue of Bigfoot and a bunch of guys maybe assaulting a woman. It's unclear where their consent lies, but it's later made clear this is Wanda because they happen upon her cabin. Before then, Sasquatch does attack one of the students, Pete, throwing him into a tree, causing his gun to go off, killing the dude. Pretty much the only time a gun does anything in this movie. They need to find a way out of here because Bigfoot stole their canoe, so they got to go back to Wanda's. There, she ends up scatting out, and they bribe her with these little candy sticks that are weirdly really good. Eventually, she talks, telling them about her dad, and she was, their dad thought she was some evil girl for some reason. One night, Sasquatch shows up and grapes her. Her dad's Shana, but not before that. We get a bit of a Wookiee-O face here in highly special fashion. He runs off, and she ends up giving birth. The father poisoned her, so the baby comes out stillborn, and apparently he didn't kill himself. She actually just got her get back and burned him to death in the shed. After this nice bedtime story, we lock up for a siege movie. The kids dig up the dead baby for proof, I guess, which pisses off the Sasquatch. Our Wookiee assailant bursts through the window and starts picking off some people. He breaks the fisherman's daughter's neck, rips the guts out of one student, flails them around proudly. Roy gets his throat slit, and another chick gets a pitchfork to the gut. The professor gets his face burnt on a stove or something, and we cut to the hospital where he's still alive, and he finishes explaining the story with different face burns. As the sole survivor, and one of many to turn up missing or dead from the supposed Bigfoot attack in these woods, they just write him off as criminally insane, and we move on, ending off with Bigfoot still out there ripping the junk off bikers and killing Girl Scouts. Yeah, throughout the movie, we got a story of someone being found dead via Bigfoot. We'll occasionally get to see this as well, and then it adds to the gore factor, of course. A couple banging in a van, a fisherman father, a biker on the side of the road taking a leak, pre-Jason sleeping bag kill was pretty good, and a pair of Girl Scouts in the woods. The film is a lot of fun, and now the second kill involving some dude's junk I reviewed, the first movie being Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. I have the 7 release to this one, although they swapped the sticker on my disc for 1 and 2 somehow, but it's the highest definition version of the film, considering the 2K scan they used was previously believed to be lost media. Along with this, they also have an unreleased movie on there from 1964, A Fraternity of Horror, which was made by the producer of Night of the Demons, Jim Ball, and the cameraman, John Quick. This whole movie was done in one shot, according to the director, but apparently in a month of shooting, they ran into no problems. Funny enough, initially the film had pretty much no gore in it at all, which is why a lot of the kills are weirdly spliced throughout the movies as stories. It does make me wonder what the hell the finale would have been before they shopped it around and went for reshoots. Before that, the film had opened with a helicopter rescue in the woods. The sheriff, who we only see briefly in one scene in the town, would be a main character instead, and he goes to Wanda's cabin to reassure Bigfoot is still out there, but he has plans of stopping him. Paul Kelleher is even listed as principal actor in the credits, but he's cut down to no dialogue, and he never really affects the plot. As you can tell, the movie went through a lot of changes with the director James Wason not even being part of the added gore scenes or the climax, which added to his confusion a bit on why this movie became a video nasty. It was listed as gory because, as far as he knew, it pretty much wasn't gory at all. Lead cinematographer John Quick would spearhead these new scenes alongside producer Jim Ball. There are a couple problems with this one. The music in this movie, to me, is kind of out of place. It reminds me of Grizzly, where at times it feels like a commercial for the woods or a public domain Full House song. The Sasquatch assault on a young Wanda, where she's supposed to be 15. They should have just made her 18, so it's less weird. Although it does remind me a bit of Beast and Heat, funny enough. The acting is fine. A lot of people trashed it, and yeah, it's amateur, but it's not as bad as other movies like Things from Canada or iconically Troll 2. The cultists also just disappear in a mountain of nothing, and their whole reason of going into the woods to begin with is never really explained. Like, does Nugent teach a class on cryptids? I don't know. And I guess the Carla is there for revenge and closure or something, which is fine. It's just a bit random she'd be with this school. I will say the suit looks pretty good, especially for how cheap it is. Multiple people played Bigfoot throughout the movie, and at times he's so beefy, reminds me of Andre the Giant and $6 Million Man, which is pretty funny. Bigfoot always looks good, and we get some classic moments of him swinging intestines around like he's at a rave, and some questionable moments too. It's funny how many movies switch to a siege flick, but he breaches pretty fast. The movie's a lot of fun. It keeps you going with a stream of kills throughout, and he even attacks the group twice before the climax. He slashes Gary's back at one point, and then he kills Pete with his own gun. So it keeps a steady pace, and thankfully they added those scenes. Unlike the other 70s Bigfoot movies, it's definitely saves this one from being, boring and sluggish, because it has a little bit more sleaze and gore to it. It ended up becoming an early slasher. If you haven't seen this one, it's got some gold. We got castration, Bigfoot banging, bursting bellies with fire, pink eye POV shots, useless guns, spilled can of paint, spilled strawberry jam, a dozen or so kills, and a Sasquatch O-face.
I'm saving your soul, you ungrateful bitch.
All right, we've officially wrapped the year 5 of my 31 days of reviews. This is, again, my 5th year doing this. I did last year on YouTube, did 3 years prior. We're all on Facebook. Of course, follow me on Instagram and Facebook if you haven't already. It's all linked down in the description. But overall, it's pretty good year. I'm pretty happy we ended off with a banger. We started off with a pretty decent one, Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, classic movie. If you haven't seen my last couple reviews, go check it. There should be playlists on the channel. And I dropped 31 reviews this year. And like I said, it's kind of an annual thing. But overall, pretty good year. I'm happy. The views were bigger last year, I think. But I'm never really that worried about the views. I kind of just have fun talking about these terrible movies. And there's a couple bangers. I'm not mad at. I got to talk about Neon Maniacs, which is an all-time favorite of mine. That I think needs a lot more love. There's a lot of good ones. Dune Asylum was a lot of fun. Frightmare's a lot of fun. I got to check out Kill Her Goats for the first time, as that's a new movie. I was a little bit disappointed with that one, but it was still fun. And then I found out about this movie, Sweet Home, which was awesome. It's one of the best Japanese horror movies I've ever seen. It's up there with like Evil Dead Trap and other absolute classics out of Japan and grunge and all that stuff. Sweet Home is great. If you haven't seen it, go check that out, of course. But there's all the great ones. Grave Robbers, again, probably the best Mexican horror film. Toxic Avenger, so we finally got a Troma video to stay up. Last year I tried to do the Poltergeist, but it got taken down. Flesh Eater Revenge of the Living Dead went up, although I think it got restricted, so you might not have seen that one go up, but it is still up, and it's still got, some engagement there. But overall, again, I'm pretty happy. I was a little disappointed with the Slayer, but I'm pretty happy overall this year. So I appreciate you all. Check it all out. And of course, now we're going to go back to normal comic stuff. I still talk about movies throughout the year. I might do other horror. I might try to. I know last year I did a couple of horror movie reviews throughout the year. I was trying to do them on holidays and stuff, and I kind of fell off track on that. But you might see me do that again. I don't know. I haven't decided. But I can talk about horror movies all day. I love horror movies. I'm working on making my own horror movies, and so that's a big part of what I do. But also, comics a big part of what I do. So we're going to see a bit of a return to form to the channel. We're going to go back to a lot more comic content. We're going to go do, there's been some hauls coming up throughout the month. Every Wednesday, there's still been a comic video coming up in October. But I still want to talk about some spec talks. I've been spec talking over a month. I did a Ghost Rider episode, if you want to check that, if you haven't already as well, talking about my opinions on Ghost Rider #1, the Gil Kane issue from the 70s. So, still some fun stuff, not just hauls, but it was a lot of hauls. Mostly I actually found some old videos I'd recorded and I just threw up because I didn't even know I had them. I thought they were either uploaded or I totally forgot I recorded them. So you're going to see a couple new stuff coming up. I haven't decided what the next spec talk is going to be, but it'll come up tomorrow because tomorrow's Wednesday. Halloween falls on a Tuesday for some reason. So here we are. Again, I appreciate you all for sticking through this long. Hope you enjoyed. If you aren't already, follow me here on Facebook and Instagram for more daily content. I put stuff up all the time. I got stuff coming up here on YouTube Shorts all the time. And then, of course, I got videos coming up twice a week. Normally throughout the year. Of course, October, it's every day. And then some. But, usually every Wednesday there's video, and oftentimes, almost always, there's a bonus video on Sunday. Not every week, but pretty much every week there's a bonus video on Sunday. So keep your eyes peeled. I got a lot more stuff coming down the pipeline. I want to talk about some Shogun, Godzilla stuff. I want to talk about a little bit of everything. I got a lot of stuff coming. I want to talk about some foreign Star Wars toys. I know I've done a toy video in a while. I'm talking about Micronauts. I haven't brewed up Micronauts video. I got a discussion video coming about the new 52 and the impacts of Jim Lee being moved up in office. So I got a lot of fun stuff coming. So make sure you stay tuned and drop a little subscription down below. And until next time, peace.